Hello guys, buenos dias, buenas tardes, or buenas noches. Welcome to a new exciting Spanish 101 video. Today we're going to talk about a very important and quite simple topic, los plurales en español, or plurals in Spanish. If you haven't studied grammar in school, don't worry, don't let the technical word freak you out. I'm going to start by explaining you what a plural is. Okay, so we already talked about one big group of words, one of several big groups of words that exist in almost all languages, and particularly in English and Spanish. They are called nouns, right? And if you recall, nouns are basically names, both specific names and general names, and we use them to refer to all the things that exist. Things, living beings, places, ideas. So let's look at a small fragment of an English sentence. I'm very narcissistic. That means I always talk about myself and think only about myself. So we're going to make this about myself, the professor. Okay, where is the noun here? Where is the word that we use to name a thing or a living being or a place or an idea? Yeah, it's quite simple. It's right here. Professor. Professor is a noun, right? Now, we can say professor, or we can say professors, right? All nouns in both English and Spanish have a different form, a slightly different form that is used to signal that we're talking about more than one thing. Okay? If I say professors, clearly I mean more than one professor, right? So when I use a noun that refers to one thing, right, or one being, one idea, one place, whatever, I say that that noun is a singular noun. What I mean by that technical word is simply that I'm referring to one thing, okay? And when I refer to more than one thing, I say it is a plural noun. Quite simply, that means I'm referring to more than one thing. In short, singular means one, plural means more than one, okay? So let's think about plurals in Spanish, okay? And let's start by comparing them to English. In English, most words, not all words, I'm not going to go into the irregulars, which were a nightmare for me when I learned English back in the day. But, for more words, it's fairly simple. You just add an S, right? Shoe, shoes. Car, cars. Student, students. College, colleges. Book, books. I don't know, whatever. Computer, computers, right? You just add an S, and clearly you're saying that you mean more than one of that thing. You're turning it into the plural form of the noun, right? So 3 rules for Spanish. Spanish is not very different. You also add an S. I know, quite simple, right? Libro, libros. Estudiante, estudiantes. And so on and so forth. So for libro, libros, that's book, books, right? The S at the end just means that there's more than one, right? But there is a separate case for words that end in a consonant. Do you remember what the vowels are in Spanish? A, E, I, O, U, right? So for all nouns that end in any of those, we follow the first rule, we just add an S. But for words that end in the other letters, in consonants, we don't just add an S, we add an E or an E in Spanish, right? For example, profesor, the one we just used, right? Profesor means a professor, a male professor, right? The plural, if you want to refer to more than one male professor, you don't say profesors, you say profesores, right? The word ends with a consonant, so you write es at the end to signal that it is plural. Same thing with computador, computadores, okay? Ends in a consonant as well, so we add es. Okay? You add an S if it ends in a vowel. You add ES if it ends in a consonant. And one third minor rule, because something special happens when the word ends in Z. If the word ends in Z, you change the Z for a C and then add the ES. Okay? There are not many nouns that end in Z in Spanish, but there's a few. One of them is actually in our first vocab list. I hope you remember it. Lápiz. What does lápiz mean? It means pencil, right? So lápiz ends in a Z. So when we turn it into its plural form, we do two things. We add es because it ends in a consonant, but since that consonant is a Z, we also change the Z for a C. So the plural of lapis is lapises with CES at the end. And that's it. Those are the three rules. In short, if the word ends in a vowel, well, if the noun ends in a vowel, to turn it into the plural, you add an S. If the noun ends in a consonant, to turn it into the plural, you add ES. If the noun ends in Z, you turn the Z into a C and then you add ES. Okay? And that's it. Those are the rules for the plurals in Spanish. Let's apply them very quickly to a few of the words we have learned so far. For example, diccionario. Also, we should also use this opportunity for practicing our pronunciation. So, diccionario, right? It ends in what? It ends in no. That is a vowel, so I follow the first rule, diccionarios. That means dictionaries. Second word, bolígrafo. Also ends in no. That is a vowel. I just add s. Bolígrafos. Remember what bolígrafo means? It means a pen. How about cama? That one we haven't studied, right? Cama means a bed. It ends in an A. That's a vowel as well. Camas. How about reloj? That means clock, right? Reloj. Is J a vowel? No, it's not. So what do I add? I add ES. Relojes. Libro, we've done a lot already. Libros, right? Ends in O, that's a vowel. Silla, sillas, that's also a vowel. Mesa, mesas, that's also a vowel, right? I just said books, chairs, tables. How about pencils? Lapis, well, the special rule, right? Z turns into a C and then ES. Lapises. Those are the rules for constructing the plurals in Spanish. Gracias, muchachos. Hasta luego.